welcome to Ask the Vet episode 10. I'm doing this again on my phone this week. I tried it on my laptop last week and it didn't work so well because I couldn't see any of your questions. So yeah, that made life a bit more difficult. Right, so how is everyone's day? I am a little bit tired. I had a few days off last week, which means I should be less tired. But we also had, we do kind of a like monthly beer pong thing at one of the local bars for War Paws, and then we also had the pub quiz last week. So a couple of late nights. So yeah, if I look tired, that's why. So yeah, I hope everyone else is good. Vicky Martin, I'm gonna hold off on your question till I see you on here, because we did answer it last week, but I'd love to answer it again. So we're gonna wait and see if you managed to join us. And then we did have a few other questions, so let me have a look. Tell you what, why don't I do some updates initially, and then we can get started on the questions, give people some time to join. So we got Rumble here. Rumble. She's mad at me because I was playing with Harley and Chris Kringle earlier. Right, if we go outside, I think it's getting to feeding time, so the dogs are all getting quite excited. We've got Gara having a little scratch. Hey. And then Harley. What are you doing, Harley? Yeah. Me and Harley had some fun earlier, so you guys will probably be seeing the videos of that on our stories and our posts. Hi, Sue. So yeah, they're all quite excited because it's feeding time. Hey, feeding time. I know. Oh my goodness. And then who else have we got up here? Yeah, we got Gara, Limpy, Queenie, Lalita, and then you can see Chris just coming there. A little bit scared by Lalita, so we'll go and sort that out. Gara, enough. Harley, leave. Come on, Chris. Come on. So that's those guys. Harley just wants all of the love. All of the love. Yes. Hey, Lally. Chris, are you coming in? All right. Let's go on then. Have these two in. I'm trying to get Harley and Chris to bond so that they can hopefully be released together, which would be really nice. Yeah, so hi Sue, thanks for joining. Do you have any questions for us tonight or this afternoon? Because what is it? It's 1 o'clock with you guys, so yeah, it's about 4 o'clock here. Any particular dogs anyone wants any updates on? Let me know. Let me think, what have we been up to this week? Yeah, it's a bit, well, yeah, I've been off for 4 days, so, let's see, yesterday, what day was it yesterday? Saturday. Yeah, gosh, I'm losing track of the days. So yesterday was kind of just a catch-up admin day, which was really nice, and today we've had a couple of x-rays and a dental, which has been good. And then tomorrow we've got an amputation. So tomorrow you'll probably see it on our social media. We've got Seth, who is a dog who came into us. I think he's got a brachial plexus injury. So the brachial plexus is a kind of group of nerves in your shoulder. And if a dog has like a road traffic accident or something, or that area gets hit, it then damages the nerves and they lose all ability to like use their leg. And often they'll have like a knuckled over kind of appearance of that front leg, which is what he has, and he has no feeling in it. So I'm going to take that off tomorrow because he doesn't need it. And see how he gets on. I think he's about 6 months old. I would show him to you, but I think my internet won't stretch that far to recovery. Yeah, Chris is looking really good actually, so hopefully him and Harley, they did start playing together earlier. They were quite unsure of each other initially, but then they did start playing together, so that's nice. Yeah, and I'm trying to think what else I can talk about while we're waiting for people, but maybe I'll just get on to the questions. Cool, let's start with Catherine's question. So Catherine said, we've removed quite a number of cats' eyes recently. Do we think it's just a coincidence, or are there other factors at play? For example, inbreeding, the environment, diet, etc. Yeah, so cats, I may have touched on this last week as well, I can't quite remember. But cats often get, so I suppose there's two things. Cats often get what we call cat flu, which can be passed from mother to kitten. So it's basically kind of a group of viruses that cause an upper respiratory tract infection. So it's usually something like a herpes virus or a Kalichi virus. And those things, hi Alison, those viruses stay with the cat for life. So you kind of get two presentations. You get intermittent signs, so you can get like gingivitis, so swelling of the gums and things, upper respiratory tract signs, snuffling, sneezing, nasal discharge, everything like that, ocular discharge, intermittently, or you can get it chronically, because the virus stays with them for life. And so if it's intermittent, it just means that when they get stressed and their immune system becomes less effective, then the virus kind of shows up again, basically, and they get symptoms again. If they have it chronically, then they just kind of always have a bit of a snuffly, sneezy situation going on. So sometimes that can cause really, really, really bad conjunctivitis, which then if an animal is kind of pouring and scratching at their eyes or anything, that can cause ulcers, which can then cause, and if those aren't treated, then that leads to cats needing their eyes out. The other thing would just be with stray cats, you're much more likely to get accidents and things. Cats are pretty good at getting into accidents on their own. So obviously you have an accident such as a road traffic accident, then you're possibly going to get damaged skull and damaged eyes and things. But usually it's probably some sort of trauma to the actual globe of the eye, so the actual eye. Which then, because they're stray cats, it doesn't get treated, and so then they end up having to lose the eye. Excuse me. Yeah, so that would be why we have a lot of cats. I think it's mostly the environment, mostly the fact that they're stray cats. So their immune system's already going to be pretty compromised, and then when they do get that ulcer, they can't fight it off, and they end up kind of having to lose the eye. So that's what I think about that one. Susan Martin, what happened about the other shelter you were helping, and are you still doing so? Now, I assume you're talking about Land Shelter. Unfortunately, we did try to keep helping them. There was a bit of it was a bit difficult in terms of just resource splitting, I suppose. And sort of being able to get dogs from there to here and everything like that. So we have offered to give them sort of flea and wormer and everything a few times, but in terms of actually helping long term in a really consistent and big way, we just don't have the resources or the funding to do that at the moment, which is a shame. So we do have a couple of her dogs still though, who she very kindly put into our care. Hi, Hein. It was lovely to see you at the pub quiz the other day. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed your winning bottle of whiskey, or whatever bottle you chose, actually, to be fair. Yeah, so we've still got, I don't know if you guys remember Nyla. She was a little kind of 6-month-old dog that had her front leg removed. Bruce also had a back leg removed. Kimber and Kojo were both from her as well. They had legs removed. There's a lot of amputations that came from her. So yeah. What is the main breed of dog and what is their average lifespan? Good question, Jane. So the main breed we have here is what we call the Pishtar dog, or the Kangal, which is like it's a livestock guardian breed. So it's kind of like a mix between a Pyrenees mountain dog and something slightly less fluffy, although some of them are quite fluffy. They're usually big white dogs, and if you had them in a home, their lifespan would probably be about 10 years, but because they live outside, it's quite a difficult environment, and they have often had pretty rubbish starts in life, then we're finding they start to get the sort of aging diseases, I suppose, a lot younger, maybe sort of about 5 or 6. But they are large dogs, so their lifespan won't ever be as long as your kind of smaller dogs. So it can be difficult that way, because you see a lot of dogs that don't seem old, you know, getting arthritis and things like that. But that's also probably because we have a lot of amputee dogs, and if you have an amputation, then you're gonna get, and this actually kind of ties into Vicky's question about the leg amputations. If you take one of a dog's legs, you're obviously putting way more pressure on the other 3 legs. If you take a back leg, it's not so bad, because dogs put 60% of their weight through their front legs, but you're still kind of ending up with an amount of force on each of the remaining legs that they're not really designed for. So you will, over time, they'll get arthritis quicker and things like that. So that often happens. And then taking a front leg is slightly more, it's an easier surgery, but in terms of the longevity of the dog, it's a slightly more difficult situation, because especially with big dogs, if you take their front leg, that's their main weight bearing, or one of their main weight bearing legs. So then a huge amount of extra pressure is put on their other front leg, and you can see if they don't have the right nutrition post surgery and things like that, they're kind of, their front leg, the remaining front leg, kind of, in order to retain balance, they sort of move it to a more central position when they're standing and walking and things, rather than out to the side, and then that kind of causes a bit of a twist in the wrist and a bit of bowing in the leg and things. So they do have to be monitored quite carefully, and it is a situation where you're kind of looking at quality over quantity of life. So you know that this dog is going to have a shorter lifespan, because at some point he's going to get arthritis, or she's going to get arthritis that we can't treat if they're an outside dog, and so at some point they will need to their quality of life won't be as good at a much younger age than kind of your 4-legged dog, especially for dogs that live outside. Pet dogs, generally you can kind of manage it. I know, Alison, I literally just finished a cup of coffee as well. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. My body battery on my Garmin actually told me that I had a really good night's sleep last night as well. I think I got maybe like 92% on my sleep score. Do you guys look at your sleep score? Let me actually find my watch. Where's my watch, Elliot? There, right. Let's have another little look. So, yeah, my sleep score is usually, I don't know if you guys ever watch these, but I get a bit obsessed with it sometimes. But my sleep score, usually if I get over 80, I think that's really good. Yesterday, my sleep score was, is it going to tell me? Oof. How do I find out on this thing? Here you go, sleep score. It was 92, which is really good, so I don't understand why I'm yawning. Quality was excellent, which, yeah, it's very new for me. Very, very new. Yeah, usually if I get 80, then I'm very happy. Although I was talking to one of my friends, Vicky, and she was saying that she usually gets between 80 and 90. So clearly I need to work on my sleep. But I do always sometimes find that if you have a really good night's sleep, you're actually feeling more tired the next day because your body is kind of like, ooh, that was really nice. But maybe that's just me. Yeah, so Vicky Martin's questions. I've kind of answered it. A leg amputation is difficult surgery to undertake. Yes and no. They take a long time. But at the end of the day, as long as you don't kind of cut a major artery without ligating it or anything, it's one of those surgeries where you're like, well, as long as the leg comes off and the dog doesn't kind of bleed too much, then it was a success. Whereas obviously there are other surgeries where you have to be a lot more particular, I guess, and the risk post-surgery is higher. Like if you can get your dog past recovering well from an amputation and it survives, 12, 24 hours post-surgery, then it should be fine. Whereas there are some with, if you're cutting into the gastrointestinal tract or things like that, then you've got a few days where you might be worrying. So in that sense, it's a bit easier. You do have to kind of know your anatomy, which is not one of my strong suits. So we did a little bit of learning on that before I did my first one. And yeah, as I said, dogs tend to recover really well. They tend to do better with a back leg amputation rather than a front leg amputation. Jane, do the locals use this as a guarding dog? Yes, so it's a livestock guardian breed. So they use it kind of like as a shepherd dog, not a herding dog, but the dogs will live with the sheep. And obviously if anything threatens the sheep, the dogs will kill it. So yeah, you're thinking about your kind of Pyrenees, Great Pyrenees, everything like that. Hi, any news on my replacement? Yes, he is, or we have a potential replacement coming out in, I think, about a week's time, and he's going to stay for a week. And I'm hoping that we can get everyone to meet him, because I know that as the quiz night, a lot of people were saying they wanted to come and see the shelter and everything like that. So we have been discussing it today, and we are planning to have kind of like an open afternoon, hopefully between about 1 and 3 on Friday the 27th of February. So keep an eye out for that. Hein, I will expect to see you there. And yeah, we'll be posting about it on our social media, and obviously I'll message you and remind everyone and everything like that. But yeah, it would be really great to see everyone there. You'll get to meet me, if you haven't met me already, and Malik, who is our new admin / social media person. And she'll probably be the person that you see most on social media after I've gone. And then you will also meet Louise, our CEO, and Andy, who we are hoping will replace me, but obviously slightly depends on how he feels when he's been here for a week. So that will be his kind of like week-long trial period, I guess. See how he feels, and then yeah, we will get him out here when he wants to, if he wants to, and if we all get on. So yeah. Do we do many X-Labs? Yeah, we do a few. I think I have always been surprised at how few foreign bodies we get here, given that the dogs I would have thought would be fairly understimulated in terms of like toys and walks and exercise and everything. I mean, they get a lot of toys, but my concern was always that they would chew up the toys, and with sort of 200 dogs with toys, I would expect a lot more foreign bodies. But I think it's something to do with the breed, in terms of sort of independent breeds like the livestock guardian breed or street dogs. I think are just a lot more hardy in those sorts of ways. Like Rum, my street dog, has eaten so many things that I have thought, oh my god, this is going to kill her, and it doesn't. Especially when we were in Cambodia and there wasn't a lot of vet care except for me, and I didn't have any equipment when I was up in the jungle and stuff. If she got hold of a chicken bone or anything, and she would chew on fairly large bones and things, and she's always been fine. And I wonder if it's because of that, because she's a street dog, and for some reason they just seem better at being hardy. So we've had, since I've been here, we've had 1, maybe 2 foreign bodies, and then we've had a couple of X-laps where we've sort of not been sure what's going on, so we've kind of gone in as a diagnostic measure, and not found anything. There's been a couple where we've gone in and it's been a stomach ulcer, ruptured stomach ulcer, in which case obviously we euthanize, because by that point usually the dog is really, really, really sick and in a lot of pain. So that's usually a euthanize on the table if it's really bad. So yeah, we've done a few, but not as many as I was expecting when I first came over here, which is interesting. I am going to, so I leave, probably my last day here is on about 30th. Hi Mariel. 30th of March. It's all a bit flexible, but my last sort of contracted day will be 30th of March. And then I'm going to give myself sort of 2 months off, basically. So I'm going to spend April. I'll probably have a few days here kind of saying goodbye to everyone, packing up the van, getting everything ready. And then maybe spend like a week in Turkey, exploring Turkey. And then head over to Europe, to spend a couple of weeks driving through Europe, get back to the UK sort of end of April, beginning of May. Then I am anticipating the van needing to be in the shop for, I don't know, a week or so. It needs its MOT, it probably needs a few kind of things sorted in the engine. I hope not too much. But yeah, after a year of being out here in the weather and the heat and everything, it probably needs a few things doing to it. So I will do that, and then hopefully I'll get to do a little road trip around the UK, see my friends, hopefully get up to Scotland, because I've really missed Scotland. And then my plan is to head over to Scandinavia. Not sure where in Scandinavia. I've got yeah, there's a company that kind of organizes locums for Scandinavian vet clinics, so my plan is to kind of see if they have anything, but it's all quite last minute, so it might be the case of kind of just hoping it happens. There's a bit of time in there if I wanted to, or if they needed me to stay a couple of extra weeks to help with my replacement or anything like that, then I can do that as well, so we will see. But yeah, it should be nice. I'm very excited to get back to some mountains, for the dogs to have a bit of a quiet time, because I said earlier that I thought it would be under-stimulating here, but because of all the noise and everything constantly, it is also overstimulating, so it's a bit of a weird one. Not a lot of physical stimulation, but a lot of mental stimulation. So I feel like me and the dogs will probably need a week or so once we leave the shelter to kind of decompress and just hopefully be on our own in the mountains, which would be really nice. Yeah, but I guess we have to see what happens in the next couple of months. I mean, it's the Middle East after all. But yeah, that's my plan. I bet it's cold in the Highlands. I bet the skiing there is amazing as well. I would love to be there right now for the skiing. I did think that I'd be able to do a bit of skiing here, but I think that's probably not going to happen. There is a ski slope here. They have 300 meters of skiing. So I was hoping to get that sorted, but I don't think that's going to happen now. So that'll probably be when I go to Turkey, which is good. It'll be like April time, so it'll probably be end of the season. But it seems like the world has been a bit colder this year, so maybe it'll still be okay. But yeah, that's kind of everything from me. I will keep everyone updated with how the with the open day and everything. The next quiz, Hein, will be on the 19th of February, I think we said, which is a Thursday, because that's when 19th of February, 19th of March even, will be the next quiz night. And I'm sure we'll get another beer pong in there at some point. And yeah, I'll keep everyone updated. If anyone's got any other last minute questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll try and cover them all on next week's Ask the Vet. Same time, so it'll be next Sunday. So Sunday the 22nd, I think. Sunday the... Wait. Yep, Sunday the 22nd. And we... I can continue my lives as I travel around. They'll probably be much less interesting. I won't have any dogs to update people on. It'll just be me like, I went for a walk today, but I can try. But yeah, I'll keep you all updated on how the amputation tomorrow goes. And I will see you all this time, so 1 p.m. GMT on Sunday the 22nd of February. Have a lovely afternoon, guys. Thank you for joining us.